Welcome to Coffee and Confidence Conversations. This is the space where purpose meets empowerment. I'm Lanisha Ely, also known as the Confidence Doula, and I'm here to guide you on a journey to build unshakable confidence, embrace authentic leadership, and ignite the power within you. Each month, we'll sip on meaningful conversations, uncover actionable strategies, and dive deep into the real stories that shape confidence and growth and help you birth with purpose. So grab your coffee, get comfortable, and let's rise together. Hello, and welcome back to Coffee and Confidence Conversations. I am your host, Lanisha, also known as the Confidence Doula, and I am thrilled to have you here for our February 2025 episode. In this episode, we are going to be talking about empowering connections and relationships specifically. So, talking about relationships, not just the ones we usually think about in February. So, yes, love is in the air, but so is confidence, so is communication, and so is connection in all areas of our lives. So, whether it's with your friends, with your family, coworkers, mentors, those strong, confident relationships or those strong relationships require confidence. And today, more so than ever, we need it. And we're going to dive into how you build and how you can maintain confidence in those relationships. But before we dive in, and you'll see me checking my camera out because, of course, I have notes for you because I'm going to always bring some tips, right? So before we dive in, I want to take a moment to celebrate the richness of February. And I want to highlight it with significance because this year, Black History Month just hits different. It hits more, if you get what I'm saying. We're going to celebrate Black History Month this month as a time to honor, as every year, as all year in our community, but every year we honor the contributions of Black leaders, not just in the past, but also in the present, who have shaped our history and continue to inspire us as they show an example of leading with purpose, with confidence, and with pride. So, Black History Month, as you all know, is more than just a celebration. It's a reminder that we are resilient, that we have excellence, and we are excellent. And it highlights the innovation and creativity that we have. That innovation and creativity not only shaped our history, but it's evident in everyday lives, right? As a Black woman myself, I carry that legacy with me in how I lead, in how I serve, how I communicate, how I build relationships with others. And today, I want to highlight for you a leader who embodies all of that for me. I am inspired by many leaders, many women leaders, especially, but significantly this month, I'm led to think and reflect on leaders like Ida B. Wells.
Mm-hmm. Me and Ida B. Wells. Mm-hmm. You see us.
She was the definition of a bold, purpose driven leader. As an activist, as a journalist, as a truth teller, she used her voice to fight against injustice. Despite facing opposition, despite facing adversaries and haters, if you will, she understood the power of her words, not just in the form of igniting change, but as a writer, the courage it takes to just put those words down. And me, myself, as a writer, I stand in awe of her courage to just stand firm in her truth. unapologetically, even when the world tried to silence her. She was out there in the public, in the world, you know? She built relationships that fueled change. She educated as she organized. She empowered others to just take action. And I look at leaders like her and I see myself as, she has trailblazed a path for me to also be okay or be confident in stepping into roles that say, hey, how can I lead and empower and inspire others to take action? That's what relationships, I want you to think about when you think about relationships and confidence. Think about that. It's a reminder for us today that the right relationships and the right ways we present ourselves to the world can push us forward, just like they did for Ida B. Wells. The topic of relationships. Relationships are the foundation of how we go about life. They're in everything that we do. They can either build us up or they hold us back. And with confidence in our relationships, we're able to set boundaries, we're able to communicate clearly, but then also show up as our authentic selves, which is key to the healthy connections that we make. So I want to start off with a simple truth. And I got some tips for you. A simple truth. You've heard me say this before. Confidence begins with you. My confidence begins with me, but your confidence begins with you. And as a Southern grandmother would say, you can't pour into others from an empty cup. And y'all know how grandmothers are. If you try to keep pouring when your cup is empty, what will she tell you? Go sit down. Go sit down somewhere. But seriously, we have to be sure to fill ourselves before we can show up for others. So, Lynn, how do you do that? Here are 3 ways you can boost your confidence in your relationships almost immediately. 1, identify and know your worth. Simple. Your confidence is going to grow when you understand and embrace your unique value. So, being uniquely you, your confidence is going to grow. 2, be intentional about practicing clear communication. Oftentimes we assume others know what we need. We assume that others understand the words that are coming out of our mouths, but sometimes they don't. So practice and be open and willing to express yourself more clearly, so that another person can understand. And the third tip in how do just how confidence begins with you is be eager and intentional about setting healthy boundaries. I know I struggle with it myself on a daily basis because I just passionately want to help. But what does that do for me? It takes a lot out of my cup, you know? So setting healthy boundaries is sometimes you gotta say no, you gotta tell them no. You stop. You gotta tell them no. No is an act of self respect. Okay. It strengthens your relationship with yourself so that you can also have strong, healthy relationships with others. Okay. So I know some of you are thinking, here are the questions, right? Some of you are thinking, Lynn, that sounds great. But what if I struggle to just communicate clearly? What if I struggle to say the words that I know are inside that I need to say, but they just don't come out because of confidence, I hear you. And let me tell you, you are not alone. You are not alone. That one, let's acknowledge that the struggle is because you're caring about how those words are going to land with someone else. I want you to reframe your thought. Instead of how are these words landing with who's receiving it, How are these words releasing me from what I need, or towards what I need? It's a question that we face when we're communicating. And my answer is to simply start small. Start with the things that you can control. Those are preparing ahead. So when you know you're leading into a conversation that may be challenging or difficult, or you may need to say some words that are difficult, plan ahead. Think about what you want to say before you have that tough conversation. Write it down, give yourself notes. If you have to write a letter and read it to the person, do so, but prepare ahead. What has also helped me is using I statements. So, for example, instead of saying, you never listen to me, you know, try saying, honestly, I feel unheard when we talk about XYZ, ABC, one, two, three. Try using I statements. And then also remember to give yourself grace. Communicating and having the confidence in communicating is going to take practice. It's going to take you giving yourself kindness, giving yourself grace, and understanding that your authenticity and ability to stand in your truth and be unapologetic about your worth and your assignment is important to you. Now, before we move on, I do want to take a moment to highlight something that is so near and dear and special to me. It is the month of February. And while we're talking about love and relationships, and we're talking about the wealth and richness of Black History Month, I also want to take a moment to shout out my incredible sisterhood, Ada Rose Sigma Sorority Incorporated. This February, we are celebrating our second Founders Day on February 23rd. I encourage you to visit our website, but our mission is rooted in empowerment, service, and excellence. And I couldn't be more proud to be a part of this amazing organization and initiative. So, as the vice president and as a founder, to my fellow swans, happy Founders Day this month. And if you would like to learn more about our work and our initiatives, visit our website at adarosesigmasorority.org. Another thing about relationships is that they thrive on mutual effort. So I know we've all been in situations where we feel like we're giving more than what the other person is giving. And sometimes that's very necessary. But here's how I want you to rethink about your relationships when it comes to confidence. Be intentional. You guys will hear me say that word a lot. I use intentional when I teach my classes. I use intentional when I'm talking to my teams. I use intentional when I'm talking to my son. Be intentional. Schedule that quality time that's needed with those that matter most to you. We're talking about relationships, right? It's okay to put it on a calendar. Schedule what matters most to you. Two, celebrate others. So confidence must not be and cannot be about competition. It's about uplifting other people up, you know? A simple compliment or a word of encouragement or sharing an affirmation goes a long way. Not just for that person, but you'll see it boost your own confidence. And what is a daily practice? And I tell you guys, it's hard. Release what no longer serves you. I'm gonna say that again. No, let me rephrase it. Be intentional about releasing what no longer serves you. Some relationships are meant for a season. And we've heard this before, a reason, a season, or a lifetime, right? Letting go with that or letting go of what doesn't serve you is an act of love. It's an act of self-love, self-care and growth, especially in your confidence. There are some signs that will help you identify what is not serving you so that you could walk away or release it. One sign would be that relationship constantly drains your energy. It leaves you feeling short, shrunken, diminished. I like to refer to, don't let that solar eclipse come by and block your shine. If it's doing that, walk away. You have to release it. Okay. You have to identify if in a relationship there's a lack of mutual respect or trust. If you can't have mutual respect, you may not have to agree. You don't have to agree. But if it isn't respect and trust in, everybody has a position. So listen, I know releasing what doesn't serve you or walking away is not easy, but choosing yourself is never a mistake. Okay? Confidence isn't about just showing up. It's also about knowing when to step away, when your peace, your energy, your growth is worth protecting. Okay. Now, as we wrap up this conversation on relationship and confidence in relationships, I want to leave you with a few reminders, or just one very important reminder. You deserve connections that uplift. You deserve a connection that respects. You also deserve connections and relationships that empower you, whether that's family, whether it's friends, colleagues, or even the relationship you have with yourself. Confidence grows when you show up fully, you're honest and you communicate clearly, and you protect your peace with your boundaries. So remember, relationships should add to your life, not drain from it. So be intentional, be authentic, and most important, be unapologetically you. So thank you for joining me for this episode of Coffee and Confidence Conversations. If this conversation spoke to you, share it with a friend who needs this reminder. Share it with a colleague that may be second guessing how they clearly communicate or can communicate more effectively and confidently. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, She Can Inspire with the Confidence Doula, so you never miss an episode. Until next time, keep growing, keep leading, and keep sipping on confidence. Thanks for tuning in to your Coffee and Confidence Conversations. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode filled with empowerment and inspiration. If you want to dive deeper, visit shecaninspire.com for more tools, resources, and ways to connect. Until next time, keep growing, keep leading, and keep sipping on confidence.